The mayor's not on, so I don't know. Will, do you want to?
Yeah, the mayor was not going to be on this one.
Okay.
So are we live now?
Yes.
All right. Well, then we'll call to order the city council special session for Thursday, June 30th, 2022. And I forget who said they were going to read this.
I will. Do we need to do a roll call here, Rachel?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Mr. Harper,
Here.
Mr. Jensen,
Here.
Ms. Atkins,
Here.
Mayor Abu Osley, Mr. Brandt,
Here.
Ms. Menser,
Here.
Mr. Sterned.
Here.
All right. Regular agenda.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 30676, approving support of a workforce housing tax credit application to be submitted to the Iowa Economic Development Authority, IEDA, for 1277 8th Avenue LLC.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 30676, approving support of a workforce housing tax credit application to be submitted to the Iowa Economic Development Authority, IEDA, for the 1277 8th Avenue LLC. And we have a presentation, I believe.
Yes, it's we just have this slide, correct, Rachel? But thank you, Your Honor, Council. We do have Nick Luzon. He's been part of the team, and it looks like we do have members from the development group along with their architect as attendees. We received a request from the developer for a request for support for this workforce housing tax credit application. We received it last week. We worked with our partners at Medco, the chamber, and the visioning committee that the developer put together to get insight into possible plans for this historic area. We provided comments. They were able to turn those comments around quickly, and is reflected in the design that you see here. But I should say that the action before you has nothing to do with the design of this project, but rather simply to get in the queue for this housing tax credit application, which the deadline is July 1st, so tomorrow. So it is a short turnaround. We did try to engage as many stakeholders as we could in order to get input and just create awareness about this. But certainly we want to work with our partners to help support their application. This does not bind the city to any sort of design or does not grant any sort of zoning relief related to this project, but rather what this does is it helps the developer get a sense of clarity on the necessary development budget as they go through and continue their work in preparing a formal project. Some of the comments that have been made, I think you all received the comments from a resident regarding the 58 units and the parking. Again, this action does not bind the council to any sort of formal land use approvals or any sort of parking approvals. But one thing that we wanted to make clear is that process will have to take place when the developer gets a sense of clarity and can put the plans together and go through the formal review process that we have in place. But also as it relates to parking, we've noted a couple times at council meetings that as part of the upcoming budget process, which we will commence here soon, we do plan on incorporating a budget proposal to begin the process of a formal parking study in the uptown. So that is a concern. We wanted to point that out, but that's the main action here is just the support for this project. It should be noted also that this site is already property tax exempt as part of our normal process for tax credit support. It would be in the form of a 10-year 100% tax abatement. The ground is already tax exempt. So really, it's a benefit for the city to be able to throw support to the developer for this application as we keep it this important historic structure. Nick, if I've missed anything, feel free to jump in. Council, if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Any questions? Discussion?
I have one.
Will,
Go ahead, Grant.
okay, thank you. So the question that I have, and maybe it's a predictable question, is with this submission of support tomorrow and this application, do we have any sense of the decision timeline that the Iowa Economic Development Authority will take to render a decision on this? And then I guess the other general high-level question is, do we have any sense with this being affirmed by the Development Authority, how fast would this project unfold? Are we talking a year and a half, 2 years? Do we have any general sense on those two timeframes, approval timeframe and then overall project timeframe?
I can take that, Ryan.
you.
I would say as far as the project timing itself, obviously there's still a fair amount of work to get the balance of everything in place. I believe the developer would say they're motivated to move a project forward, but obviously this is a high profile project that they've already committed to wanting to make sure that they're engaged with community stakeholders to make sure it's the right project as well. As far as the approval from the state, this is actually a deadline that a couple of months ago, the state had actually moved up because they are very committed to getting these tax credits out as soon as possible for projects across the state. So I would anticipate that a decision is going to be made hopefully within the next 30 or 60 days on projects that are out there. And also just as a reminder, this would be the second workforce housing tax credit application that will be in from Marion this year. The other one will be the Broad and Main on 6th project.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Dan.
you. Sarah, was that you that said you had a question?
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So as it relates to the application, sorry, can someone, Nick, like give me an oversight? If they're applying for the workforce housing tax credits, what does that mean for the building and for the rent? Is it all, like, is it a mix? What is a rent for this building? If the credits go through, like what does renting in this building look like?
So these are essentially market rate units. These are not income restricted, or we've done some projects that have been low income housing tax credit projects where there are various income restrictions on, usually it's a certain percentage of units. That is not the case on this. Basically what workforce housing means is there's a cap by which a developer can spend on a per unit basis. And off the top of my head, I'm not going to be able to quote that. I think it's approximately $210,000 a unit that they have to stay under that cap. And the idea is so that then translates into more of a market rate rental. But these are not income restricted. Workforce housing essentially in a lot of ways means market rate housing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Nothing?
Just a
Can't see
comment,
everybody, so.
Will,
Yes, who said that?
got Grant here.
Go ahead, Grant.
Yeah, I'm just so enthused about whatever this project can become to rescue a property, a building that is on the National Park Service Registry of Historic Places, included in our registration of our historic commercial district. Again, whatever this becomes, can become, I'm just enthused about it because my perspective of a few months ago with the potential of this just being torn down was just kind of heartbreaking. So I just want to thank Conlon and Nick, everybody that's involved with this for the hard work to bring a vision forward. So I applaud everybody's efforts.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will go ahead and vote. All those in support of resolution number 30676, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. And if we have nothing else, Ryan?
No, thank you all very
All
much.
right.
Really appreciate the flexibility with this. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Have a great
Thanks,
evening.
all.
Take care, everyone.
Have a great one. Take care.